He may have been one of the most prolific serial killers in history, and he might still be taking lives if not for the work of his colleague, a nurse who worked with cops to bring the killer to justice.
The nurse serial killer nobody expected. Have you ever heard of her? Is her closest confidant harboring a terrible secret? How did this clever person stay undetected? Discover the horrifying true story of a nurse turned cold-blooded murderer. How could they conduct such heinous crimes while feigning innocence? Deception, betrayal, and unexpected darkness await in this story. On December 12th of 2003, nurse Charles Cullen was arrested for keeping a deadly secret. His 16-year confession that he had killed over 100 victims was terrible as police investigated.
Charles Cullen, and we are here today for the purpose of obtaining a voluntary tape statement from Mr. Cullen pertaining to the death of Reverend Florian Gow, which occurred at Somerset Medical Center on June 28th of 2003.
Cullen secretly overdosed on patients, murdering them. His motives were never revealed, adding discomfort to a frightening story. Charles Cullen's arrest forever changed the public's image of those who heal and protect them, and affected many victims' families. His life began in turmoil the day he was born, on February 22nd of 1960 in West Orange, New Jersey. His resiliency and willpower were often put to the test throughout his formative years. Despite the difficulties, he kept believing that things would improve.
Let's talk about the matter pertaining to Florian Gow. Are you responsible for his death?
Yes, I am.
And why is that, Charlie?
Because I injected him with a medication called digoxin.
Charles, a strong and driven guy, proudly served his country in the Navy. He showed extraordinary dedication to his job by accepting and even relishing the difficulties of his position. In 1984, Charles experienced a setback that would ultimately change the trajectory of his military career. He had to accept a medical discharge because of circumstances beyond his control related to his health.
What was your primary assignment?
I was mainly in the ICU. Very occasionally I would be in the CCU, and even more rarely I'd be in the step-down IMCU.
He decided to become a nurse so that he could spend his life tending to the sick and injured. He put in many hours at numerous hospitals over the years, learning new techniques and expanding his medical knowledge. His relationships with patients and co-workers as a nurse reflected his professionalism, compassion, and sensitivity.
He, at that point in time, had gotten a lot worse. I believe he was both in kidney failure and liver failure. I don't think he was responsive at all.
Charles, who has now come forward with a surprising confession, admitting to committing a horrible act in 2003 at Somerset Medical Center.
Mestex master arms and finally doing cleaning in the barracks as my job. So I never really worked in my field for the past year and a half.
The shocking confession has sent shockwaves across the community as residents try to come to terms with the possibility that the murderer has been among them the whole time. Due to melancholy and memory loss, he committed each murder impulsively. John, a 34-year-old accused, appeared in court with troubled eyes. His defense attorney claimed that John had suffered from a severe mental illness for years, causing overwhelming sadness and memory loss. John's background unraveled, revealing his psychological agony. Witnesses said that he seemed lost in his own thoughts, unable to recall important events and acts. However, the prosecution believed his memory fog was a ploy to avoid blame.
This one question before we get off the subject of the Navy. I have to ask you this, since you went into so much detail about your depression during the time you were in the Navy. Did any killing occur during that time at all?
Yeah.
Okay.
Charles had a terrifying judicial situation in 2006 that changed his life. The judge's sentence was harsh, but a parole eligibility year of 2388. This far-off date emphasized Charles's misdeeds and the need for a long penance. While Charles was in prison, society struggled to accept the horrors. His parole eligibility was far off, putting redemption in limbo.